one of the big obvious additions we have to make on our offense is a true number one, preferably X wide receiver, right? It's supposed to be Henry Ruggs, our speedster. Obviously, you know what happened there. Bryan Edwards, hey, he can be the guy that fills in. Can't bank on him making it, getting better. Zay Jones, I like for super cheap as a backup. He should not be starting on a regular basis at wide receiver for him. So we got to go somewhere and get it. So I compiled a list, 11 wide receivers that they're not all free agents. I'm not talking draft. We'll have another one for draft, but players that the Raiders can go after as free agents. And I did a poll question, share it with you here. Which number one receiver option would you want? And I listed 4, I think, of the ones that people were talking about the most. Davante Adams at 30 mil, Allen Robinson at 16 mil, Chris Godwin 16 mil, Juju Smith-Schuster at 8 mil, and I had a bunch of comments below. Davante Adams, obviously the sexy name. That $30 million price tag wasn't scaring away a lot of people, Soto. Steep price tag. For a wide receiver, 30 mil? You'd be mad if we played a quarterback 30 mil. Wide receiver 30 mil. It's a tough one.
No, I'd pay Carr 30. 30 would be good. I'd be cool with that.
All right, so I went through all of them. Number one, Davante Adams. He's the best receiver available. I think that's almost universally agreed to. Top 3 in the NFL. He clearly already jives with Carr. He's the most expensive, and he's 29, which isn't old, but it's old-ish for a wide receiver. Mm-hmm. It also comes down to a lot of other elements, like does Green Bay franchise him? And we all kind of have to wait around for Rodgers to make his decision because he's like the domino that tips off a bunch of other things, including Davante Adams.
Yeah, I mean, if Davante Adams hits free agency, which there's rumblings around that Green Bay might let him hit free agency just for whatever reason, and they don't want to franchise him, I would definitely have a long conversation with his representation to see what he's looking for. Because honestly, he's the best wide receiver to hit the market in I don't know how long. He's that damn good, and he would change the scope of your offense automatically having him on your team. He would automatically make your offense better. He would automatically make the rest of your receiving core better, and he would change every defense and how they scheme against you. He's that fucking good. Having him on your team will definitely be a huge bump, and definitely not going to be in the high teens, points per game having a Davante Adams on your team.
Hey, Chiefs, Broncos, and Chargers. You have to defend Davante Adams, Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, and Josh Jacobs.
Good luck.
Fucking luck. Next one, Allen Robinson, who has been just dying on the vine in Chicago. Poor guy. Like, we've seen the talent. They just haven't had a quarterback anywhere near him. Bears don't have a ton of cap space. He's coming off a shit season because, like I said, shit quarterback play. And he'd be that, like, possession receiver that we want in the red zone. Like, he'd be a really good guy to help our red zone issues. We're looking at probably $15 million a season for him.
I really like Allen Robinson, dude. I really like him. He is a chain mover. If you need to get that catch, he's got you. He's a big bodied receiver. He's faster than you think, and he's not afraid to go over the middle. He gets those balls. He's a good, like I say, he's a good red zone target, and he's a good get, man. He is not quite the elite talent that you would have when you get like a Davante Adams or some of the other guys on this list, but for what you're looking for as far as specifically for this offense to improve upon, which is maybe some third down conversions, some red zone conversions, this guy is definitely going to help you out.
I think he's much better than that. I think he's the number 2 guy on this list. We just haven't been able to see it because he's had no quarterback throwing to him. But we'll see what happens when there's actual arm thrown at him. Chris Godwin, we know Tampa Bay is going to try hard to keep him. They have to try to get a new quarterback with Tom Brady gone. Without Godwin there, it's going to be hard to lure somebody there. Coming off of ACL injury, he's going to not be cheap, about $16 million, I'm guessing, per season for him. But he's also a slot receiver. So do we move him outside? Does Renfrow go outside? Do they both play? There's got to be some kind of Tetris going on if we pick him up.
Well, the thing is if you take a look at the offenses of New England, their receivers move around. So, Renfrow played outside this year a little bit because he had to. And, it's very similar-ish to Gruden, where you're kind of positionless wide receivers. You kind of just get moved around a little bit. Similar, not quite as extreme as that, as we've seen with McDaniels. But Tampa Bay, I'm not too worried about Tampa Bay re-signing him because they have some cap issues themselves. They're gonna have to make a lot of strong decisions over there. Maybe they keep him and dump some other guys. Who knows? But definitely he's got the speed coming off an injury. We've seen modern medicine, man. These guys coming off ACLs are coming back that first year. Usually the common thing was, oh, ACL, you're done. You're screwed. You're never coming back. Now
it was stronger.
Yeah. It's like the ACL. It's like, okay, it's not that first year back. It's that second year back. That's the one that you have to, now it's like, boom, the first year back and you're the man. So Godwin, man, he's got the hands. He's fast. He runs good routes. He is where he's supposed to be. We'll see, man. We'll see. He's a good receiver. Not the biggest guy. He's a little smaller receiver, but definitely going to be someone that keep an eye on in that top tier of receivers that are available.
Moving along, keeping a nice pace here. Mike Williams. He set new career records in receptions, receiving yards last season with the Chargers. It's always nice to steal a Charger. Just feels extra. Little extra bonus, get to know what that playbook is, etc. He's that deep threat that we need with Henry Ruggs gone. Looking at about $16 million a year-ish for him. But the Chargers might franchise him.
They probably will. When you have a player like Mike Williams, he's the type of player that fits that offense really well, especially when you have like a Keenan Allen on the team and you have Cook on the team and you have all these different weapons on that team. You need that deep threat as well. And also he's a big bodied receiver too. Yeah. So if you put that, put those two together, Justin Herbert needs that big wide receiver down the middle. Also, that deep threat in the end zone. You don't want to take that type of weapon that's almost like a security blanket away from a young quarterback because he's comfortable with them. And if I was the Chargers, I wouldn't let him go.
Juju Smith-Schuster, Long Beach,
Strong Beach. House.
He turned down the Chiefs deal last season, which was turned out to be stupid. He's going to get pennies. You can get him for probably $8 million or so. He's only 25 years old, but he's been kind of inconsistent. He had that amazing rookie year, and each season is looking like that rookie year was more of a fluke and less of like a true example of what he's going to be.
Well, when you take a look at that rookie year, that was probably the last of the prime AB years. So
Roethlisberger too.
Well,
he was decent.
Well, the thing is you still had receivers around him that still produced at a high level with Roethlisberger. So it wasn't really that, I think, so much because Roethlisberger was still able to get the ball out and get the ball and spread the ball around. But he is, if you want to take a look at, he's not a speed burner. He is kind of like a Allen Robinson light. He's not quite as big as Allen Robinson.
The Diet Pepsi of Allen Robinson.
Yeah, but he is a possession receiver. He can get yards after catch. He would be a good get. I think he would be a good get. He'd be a lot cheaper, a lot younger. That shoulder issue, that worries me, especially in football. Shoulder issues tend to creep up again later on. That's going to be a big one. That's going to be an issue one. You have to trust your medical staff on that one.
Next up, Antonio Brown.
Oh man, I don't think so, dude. No, let's just move on.
I slay me. Brandin Cooks. This is a rare one, not a free agent, signed with Houston, but I included him in this list because there's been some, I would say soft chatter that Houston might be looking to move on from him. Remember, he played under McDaniels in New England 2017, led the Patriots in targets, 114, second in catches, 65, receiving yards over 1,000, touchdown receptions was 7. He's currently in a 5-year, $81 million contract, and he's owed $12.5 million next season.
I'm not too high on Brandin Cooks, honestly. No? I don't know. I mean, that target to reception ratio is pretty rough, man. 114 targets and 65 receptions. That's kind of rough. He has injury concerns. On top of the injury concerns, he also has concussion issues. So you put that together, along with he's not the biggest receiver. He's actually kind of a small. He's really fast still. I don't know, man. I think that he got that big of a contract from Houston because you have to give somebody some money. You have to spend the cap on somebody. And he's not a slouch by any means. I'm just not that big on Brandin Cooks.
Speaking of injuries, DJ Chark. So he missed 22 of 65 games. He's missed 33% of his NFL games. He's so injury. He missed 13 games last season, fractured ankle in week 4. He's at the Jags currently. The Jags really need a wide receiver, so they may franchise him. But I think he wants out. He's only 25 years old, 6'3", 200 pounds, ran a 4.3 40. We could probably get him for like 12 mil. And when we did the poll, he was the one in the most mentioned, like the others section. Like he's the one most mentioned. Raider fans love him. If it weren't for the injury problems, I'd say it's a no-brainer go after him. But missing a third of your games and you're only getting older.
Well, the reason why he dropped so far in his draft year was because he missed his last season in college because he was injured. And that was the big concern about DJ Chark. His production on the field, once he's on the field, is not in question at all. He's a very talented receiver, and he's very competitive, and you can see it on the field. He's super fiery. He's going to be, I can see him in silver and black, and I could see him being a big contributor to the Raiders and a big kind of like that Raiders mentality. But unfortunately, he just gets hurt too often, man. I don't think that that's the kind of person you want to, when you have a big hole to fill, he's not the kind of starter you want to have. If you want to put him at like a third receiver or like the old Zay Jones position, okay, fine, a third, fourth receiver, something like that, great. This is a guy that he could contribute when he's there, but unfortunately, you can't count on him. The best ability is availability.
We're looking for a number one, not a. It'd be nice to have him. The other guy that's still under contract, Calvin Ridley in Atlanta. He needs a fresh start. Atlanta's going to be resetting here any minute. Another guy that was injured. He missed 12 games because of mental health issues. He took basically a whole season off to deal with mental health. Not that that's ever a good thing, but the Raiders have made mental health like a bigger priority than any other of the other 31 NFL teams, right? They have literally mental health meetings. Darren Waller, Max Crosby, they've got all these, such a big part of what makes the Raiders Raiders. It seems like a place where he could find kind of that healing or a good environment that he wants to be in. He's owed $11 million in next season under his 5th-year option. You're on a 4.4440 time. He comes with some question marks, but I feel like he's a puzzle piece that fits almost exactly what the Raiders need.
The big question with Calvin Ridley, and I'm not discounting mental health issues or mental health problems or mental health episodes, is do you want to play football? Right? You have players like on our team, like Crosby and Waller. They've had their own issues, right? But they turn to football as their solace. Like, okay, football is my foundation. I'm going to go through these issues, but you know what? I'm going to turn to football to be my center point, to be my rock.
If I don't get this under control, I lose football.
I lose this.
If this gets under control, I don't have to play football.
Exactly.
Different mentality.
Exactly. Does Calvin Ridley want to play football? And that's the thing you have to ask, because if you sit down with Calvin Ridley and say, look, man, you have what we need. We want you here. We have, sitting next to me right here is Darren Waller. Sitting next to me is Max Crosby. We have this group, and we want to put our arms around you. We want to bring you in here, and we want to show you we've been where you've been. We're going to be here with you. But when you have those episodes, when we want those issues, we want you to come in here and have us bring you in closer. We don't need you going away. Yeah. We need you coming in. Do you want to play football, yes or no? And if you're kind of humming and hawing, we don't need you.
Next up, Odell Beckham. Talk about a wild card. I wonder if the Raiders will kind of look at this as sort of an Antonio Brown, but you also got to remember it's a whole new regime there, so they're not like burned by Brown. He went off in the playoffs this season. You got to imagine he wants to go back to the Rams, right? You win a Super Bowl.
He'll be back.
You probably want to stay there. He is coming off a torn ACL. It'll cost about $14 million next season.
Yeah, he's going back. He's going back to the Rams. They'll figure it out. Yeah. He's just going back. It just is what it is.
Last one, Michael Gallup, also coming off a torn ACL. A lot of torn ACLs in the final years of contracts going around. He's only 26. Obviously, you got that big play potential that we've been lacking once we lost Henry Ruggs. And I feel like if any team can lose a Michael Gallup type guy and be okay, it's the Cowboys, right? With basically 3 number 1 receivers going on there in Dallas. He'd cost about $12 million.
He's a sneaky pickup. I like Michael Gallup. I would put him probably 5th on this list.
Interesting.
Him or Calvin Ridley, depending on Ridley's kind of mental state, depending on how important football is to him. But I do like Michael Gallup. As far as the money goes, I think that's a little bit rough for Michael Gallup. He's never had to be that number 1 guy. He's always had the luxury of having Cooper on the other side, Zeke Elliott taking up a lot of 8-man boxes and stuff like that, a lot of one-on-one coverage and stuff like that. So that's why I'm not too high on him being our number 1, because he hasn't been a number 1. Ridley's been a number 1. Robinson's been a number 1. Chark's been a number 1. These guys have been number 1s, right? So if we're gonna sign somebody to be our number 1, I want them to have been a number 1 somewhere else.
You're my number 1, Soto. You won't be anyone else's number 1.
You love it.